Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments every Friday, 3 o'clock Central Time. We come to you. You can go to Ministry Moments YouTube and go to Bob Gray Sr. and subscribe. That way you'll get it just as regular. And you can watch it at your own leisure. Also, if you would go to Ministry Moments Podcast, find your favorite podcast provider, and you can go ahead and subscribe there. And or you can go to solvechurchproblems.com, and Ministry Moments is a part of that, and a weekly blog you'll find there. But anyway, welcome. Glad you're here. Subscribe and talk somebody else into subscribing. And very helpful. It's brief. It's to the point. And very little controversy. I have to keep it up. Got to keep my reputation up, I guess. Huh? So anyway. Today, I want to talk to you about success attracts failures. Success attracts failures. Brother Joe Boy, I love Joe Boy. He called me one time, Brother Gray. I said, yes, Brother Joe. He said, I want to ask you a question. I said, okay, what is it? He said, do you have baptistries on the buses? And you take them to the back of the bus and baptize them on the bus. And I said, no, we don't do that part. He said, he said, I thought it was a good idea. Anyway, he talked for a little bit. He said, the last time we preached together, I used the term staph infection. And he loved that. He loved that, staph infection. And he used that over and over again. What a great man. What a big man, all-American. And just a tremendous Christian and a great soul winner, He put you to shame. Soul winning. I loved him. So let's talk about success attracts failures. Success attracts people of different persuasion. Many times, and people want to be a part of that which is successful. They really do. It attracted people to Hammond. It attracted people to John Rice and Curtis Hudson and Tom Malone. There was an attraction there. They had the power of God on them. And their churches were vibrant with souls saved and baptisms and so on. And so in a lot of those cases, it attracted people who came of different persuasions who were not as successful as they wanted to be in the ministry. So they came to these places. We had people in U-Hauls here practically every month. Somebody's moving here to be a part of this church, which I'm grateful for. But I learned something also. Success attracts people of different persuasions. They may like the main product, but there's some things that they just think ought to be changed and ought to be different. Now, if they had been successful in it, they wouldn't have come to where I'm at. So I said, number one, success attracts people of different persuasions. Now, if you're going to get a church on fire and a ministry on fire, it's going to attract people of different persuasions. All right. Number two, caution. They alter principles by using persuasion. They have no successful principle-based ministry, but they come and are persuaded about something. Now, caution. If you're not careful, they'll alter principles by using persuasion. Now, you grew because you had a Bible principle and you were living on precept upon precept, line upon line. And that's what caused you to be successful. You don't want to go in there and start pulling bricks out of that wall. They will collapse on you. And so they came to you, you didn't go to them. And so they come and join you, they're joining you, you're not joining them. So you're going to have to love them, be there for them, but you cannot let them affect you. You can't do it. So the thought today is success attracts failure. Success attracts people of different persuasion. Caution, they alter principles by using persuasion. They live off of the power of persuasion, not the power of principle. Number three, have a 1-year moratorium on transfers. Now, these are things that I've learned the hard way. Have a 1-year moratorium on transfers. And somebody comes in, I don't care how famous they are, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're going to come, you're going to win souls and be faithful for 1 year before I put you into leadership, because I don't I've worked hard to get where I'm at now and to assemble a team of like mind, one accord, one place. I worked hard to get to that point. And so I'm not going to put some pretty boy in or some flash in the pan in to leadership so they can, like a cancer, eat away at my principle-based ministry. And so I said, number one, success attracts people of different persuasion. They come to you because, well, let's face it, they like to be successful, and which is okay. I want to be successful in the Lord's work. Number two, caution. They alter principles by using persuasion. They're very persuasive people, and you can't build a ministry on personality. You cannot do it. It will not work. Number three, have a 1-year moratorium on transfers as far as being a part of leadership. Number four, never allow different persuasions in leadership. Never allow different persuasions in leadership. I can't do it. I remember when Jerry Falwell contacted me to be a part of the moral majority, and I called Brother Hiles, and Brother Hiles had been friendly to Jerry, and Jerry had been friendly to him. And Brother Hiles had used him, and Jerry Falwell had used Brother Hiles. So I called him, and he said, "No, Brother Ray, don't do it. Don't do it." He said, you keep after soul winning, keep building a church, you keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, but no. Don't get involved in that. Don't get involved in politics. I'm afraid we haven't learned. And Brother House was right. And so after a while, I saw some dear friends of mine got involved in moral majority. And some of them just completely got out of the ministry and got into politics and so on. And we're not going to win this nation because of who's in the White House. It's who's in God's house that makes a difference. So success attracts failures. Number one, success attracts people of different persuasion. Number two, caution. They alter principles by using personality or persuasion. Number three, have a 1-year moratorium, just a safety. Tap the brake a little bit. 1-year moratorium on transfers as far as leadership is concerned. Never allow, number four, never allow different persuasions in leadership. We're not going to be fighting a political battle when we're trying to win souls to keep people out of hell. I'm not going to do it. I'll preach the principles that allow us to be able to vote right and to do right, but be very, very careful about promoting political people. I don't do that. That's, in fact, I'm not a Billy Graham fan, a long shot, but not because of the souls saved or so on, but the association that led those souls saved into liberal, anti-Christ, anti-virgin born ideas about Christ. But he said at the end, he made this statement. He said, the biggest mistake I ever made was getting involved with politicians. Now, if somebody like him, Billy Graham, could look back and say, out of all the success I've had, I wish I'd have never gotten involved with politicians. He witnessed to them. But you tell them they're going to hell and they need to get born again, they won't have you around a prayer breakfast table very long. All right. Success attracts failures. Number one, success attracts people of different persuasion. Caution. They alter principles by using persuasion, personality. Number three, have a 1-year moratorium on transfers as far as being involved in leadership. Number four, never allow different persuasions in leadership. Don't allow it. Don't allow it. This is not a political thing. It's a spiritual thing. We're fighting a spiritual battle. Number five, help the person without allowing the persuasion into leadership. That doesn't mean that you don't help the person. I'd take them soul winning. I'd spend some time together. Let them vent. Let them talk to you. And then on a one-on-one, you help them. Help them to be able to see the fault, the fallacy that they may be dealing with. You'll have to know your stuff in order to do that. But help the person without allowing, don't allow them into a place of leadership, but help them. All right. Number six, do not acknowledge leaders of different persuasion they follow to persuade you. They have heroes. Don't let those heroes become your heroes. Contemporaries can see no further than you can see. They can't. So why would you allow them to persuade you? You see as far as they do. I don't listen. If we started on using country and western stars to build a crowd, we could build a crowd. It's not, the Dallas Cowboys got a crowd. It's not a church. You can't allow these to come in. Somebody comes in and say, well, I like this pastor in California and his leadership and all of that and so on and so forth. Now, if you are persuaded yourself that the direction he's going is a wrong direction, I don't care how much he's amassed, it's a wrong direction, then don't you let that man get into your ear about this particular leader or whoever it might be. Be very, very careful. That's why we are called independent Baptists. That's why we are independent. And so you be an independent thinker based upon line, precept upon precept. And so do not acknowledge leaders. If somebody comes in, they start talking about, and they start mentioning, that's why you got to spend time with them and try to help them mature. But do not acknowledge leaders of different persuasions. They follow to persuade you or get in your head. Number 7, this is the last point. Aren't you proud of me? Number 7, if you do, you'll fail at your once successful ministry. If you allow them to get in your head and you start traipsing off to some conferences that are suspect to you, and I'm not trying to kill anybody, but if it's suspect to you in the direction you're going, don't go. And if you let them get in your head and just to appease them, you go with them to that conference, then what's going to happen is you're succeeding, but you're going to fail. Eventually, you're going to take an exit off a highway that you were traveling, knew where your destination was, and you're going to take an exit, and you're going to be stuck in that exit for a few years, and nothing good is going to come from it. The Holy Spirit will teach you. He will talk to you. And when you're sitting there, haven't you ever been in a car and heard a radio broadcast and you said to yourself, that isn't right? That's not right. Well, when a pastor says, I don't like Jack Hyles, I don't want to hear his name mentioned, and throws him on the bus, run. But ain't anything good going to come from that. Not a thing. And I know a great leader in fundamentalism, they say, whom I've had personal conversation with, and he can't stand Jack Hyles. Well, as far as I'm concerned, buddy, it's in your head and in your brain. No wonder you haven't go to room 200 for salvation. No wonder you got blue lights up. You think the power of God comes with blue lights on the platform? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That is so is idiocy. And you know it. That's the problem. You know in your gut, but you like the massive crowds attracted by folks like that. And they may have the crowds, but they don't have Christ. There's something wrong. I'm just saying to you, there's something wrong when you have to use that in order to get people to come. You're mad now, aren't you? Well, smile. It's not so bad. I was with B.R. Lakin in Crete, Illinois, and he said to me, Brother Gray, you got to put some orange juice in that casserole. And so sometimes you got to take the medicine, take it like a man. But so success attracts failure. Number 1, success attracts people of different persuasions. It's going to. It's that staph infection Joe Boyd like. Number 2, caution. They alter principles by using persuasion. Number 2. Number 3, have a 1-year moratorium on transfers as far as being a part of leadership. Number 4, never allow different persuasions in your leadership. Number 5, help the person without allowing the persuasion in the leadership. Help them. Don't run them off. Spend time with them. You persuade them based on principle, not personality. All right. Number 5, help the person without allowing the persuasion into leadership. Number 6, do not acknowledge leaders of different persuasion that they follow, because it gets in your head. You're gonna lose what you've gained. Again, staph infection. All right. Number 7, if you do, you will fail at what you once succeeded in. If you let them get into your head and you start following. Listen, I followed Jack Hyles. Jack Hyles had 20 years on me. I followed John Rice. I followed Curtis Hudson. I followed Tom Malone. I mean, they had 20 years on me, and I couldn't catch up to them. Now, if Tom Malone had said King James Bible got errors in it, and you can use it, but you can also read the NIV and all the others and so on. Well, that'd been it for me. I wouldn't have followed him. Wouldn't have done it. If Dr. Hyles had done that, if Dr. Curtis Hudson had done that, I wouldn't do that. I'm just saying now that, by the way, there's some of these men, we did not know that there was some question about the King James Bible, but they landed on their feet. And to be able to follow somebody like a great man and stay under the shadow of a great man is necessary. And as flawed as they may be, but my goodness, when they say blatant statements like, don't you mention Jack Hyles' name around here. Don't you refer to him, and don't you mention his name. It's time to run for another church. That's what that is. If something bad's going to, I'll talk to you about it in another broadcast. Get ahead of myself. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Soul winning, win people to Christ, get them lined up for Sunday. And I'll see you next week.